Now you guys are live.
I think we're live. Hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
So we're just waiting for Jonathan.
That's my son Gideon mumbling in the off camera.
Yeah.
He's guiding us through this as our technical skills are very, very limited.
People are coming up. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, I'm going to.
That's fine. It doesn't bother us.
I know, but wait 1 sec.
We're not. We don't.
I know. I'm trying to figure it out. It's okay.
Hi, guys. Hi, Chris.
Hi. It looks like there are people from all over the world here. It's pretty great. So we're going to be joined by Jonathan Amisa in a little bit, who is an extraordinary human being. We met on World Refugee Day. And
we're looking forward to talking to him through the miracle of modern technological
asking him whatever we want to ask him, and he's been encouraged to ask us whatever he wants to ask us.
Great, and we're going to see, he should be here through rescue.org and
hopefully
left-hand corner.
Louisville. Hi, Louisville.
Waiting for Becky. Be a good girl,
She's
Becky.
good girl.
Okay, we might be turning off comments just to
Can you guess me?
we might be turning off comments just so we're not distracted, but we love you all, and just so we can have a good conversation with Jonathan.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, got it.
All right, I don't see
But
Jonathan
also,
yet.
Okay, it's all good. See,
like
that's
something's
heart
smoking.
people. That's how people let you know that it's
good.
not smoking.
I
Mom.
thought it was smoke coming up. That's what I know.
afraid
But thank you. Their
she's-
heart's not
No,
smoke.
those are
She's gonna
hearts in the
pour.
lower right
She's gonna
corner.
pour water on.
Oh my
the
God!
phone.
Look at all those hearts. We love that. Where's
Wow.
Jonathan?
Well,
I wanna
we
see
click this
Jonathan.
thing and rescue.org viewers. Okay,
Hold on, we're trying to figure out how to get Jonathan.
we've got rescue.org ad. Waiting for rescue.org connecting.
Okay, there he is. Hello. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Oh, good. We hear you great.
I'm always amazed.
Thank you. Thank you. I hear you guys good too.
Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys and thank you for your time and all of that.
And let me just jump and thank you for being such an inspiration to everyone. And now we're going to tell them why you're an inspiration, and you're going to share everything you want to share and ask whatever you want to ask. And believe me, my wife will ask you everything she wants to ask.
But you have to ask us anything you want to ask, Jonathan.
Oh, really? Can I ask you anything?
Anything.
Jonathan, what might be best is because there's people watching us from all over the world. So why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself and say, well, give us a little bit of your story, where you're from, how you got to where you are, so that it comes from your mouth as opposed to what our mouths.
Okay. Let me adjust my volume a little bit here. It seems like, okay, it's right there. All right, sounds good. By the way, my name is Jonathan. I came from Cameroon. I was born in Cameroon, that's Central Africa. And I was born in the north side of Cameroon. It's like more dry, super hot all the time. I moved here in 2013 when I was 18 years old. And since then, I like Boise, and people in Boise, I hope people in Boise like me. So
We've been to Boise, but we'll tell you our story with Boise later.
oh, okay.
Jonathan,
I'm excited.
Is there a large community of people from Cameroon or Chad in Boise, or are you it?
No, no, really. There's no a lot of people from Cameroon. That's something odd with it is most people from Cameroon, they like to go more like New York, they're like big cities.
You know, go on, sorry.
Yeah, so there's no lot. I know a couple of families that lived here and they are from Cameroon, but it's only like 3-4 families that I know. But am I not just like not reach out enough or something? But yeah, so far that's all I
Jonathan, could you take us back a little bit in time to explain to us how you became a refugee, how you went on your journey, and how you found yourself in Boise, Idaho? How did that process work? How did you choose Boise, or how did that happen? Just can you take us from the beginning to where you are now, so we just understand a bit of your journey?
That's a good one. So how did I become a refugee? So I was born in Garwa, so it's like that's the north part of Cameroon. And when I lose my parents, because I lost my dad first, I was 10 years old. And then 1 year later, my mom also passed. So like I was only 11 years old. I lived with my grandparents for a little bit of like 3 to 4 months. And back then, I don't understand things called abuse, because for us, like, if somebody do something to you, they might not just like, they try to be a parent to you, or they just try to like make you a better person. But basically what they did is like, they're like, okay, you're not going to go to school. You just have to stay home and do some work for us. And basically I take care of their kids, even though they're older than I. And so I decided to run away from them after 3 months that I lost my mom.
Run away from your grandparents.
Yes. I remember they sent me to go get water. It was kind of like a sunset, like it was like, you know, like the sun setting down around like 6 p.m. whatnot. And then I never came back. That's all I know. I think I walk about 15 to 20 miles to get to the city where I need to be, because I know they will never find me then if I get there. So yeah, from there I took that journey and I stayed in that city for like 4 years. I work, I went to school, I saved up money, and then I moved to capital city, which is Yaoundé in Cameroon. And that's what another journey started, and that's how I noticed that I'm a refugee, because I met somebody who worked for refugees in Cameroon that I happened to help on the street, and then come back later to get to know me more. And I tell him more about myself, and he's like, could you give me your parents' information and stuff? So I gave him all my parents' information. And then 2 weeks later, he come back and say, hey, by the way, I find out that your parents from Chad, so you're not from Cameroon. Even though you were born in Cameroon, you are not Cameroonian. Like, you from Chad. That's where your parents came from. And your parents like crossed the border, and then they located in Garwa, and that's where you were born. So that's how the guy started my process. It's like, okay, you're a refugee. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you a question. When you were about 11 and a half years old, between 11 and 12, when you ran away from your grandparents, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's quite a courageous thing for a young man to do, and then to get to the big city and stay there. I'm very curious, where did you find your strength and your courage and not to be so frightened? How did you feel so strong and so courageous to know what you needed to do?
So my mom, I'm really close to my mom, and she's a great woman. I'm close to both of them. My dad and my mom, they're very nice people. They always leave decision up to me. And then if I don't make a right decision, then they jump in and say, hey, we feel like what you're saying is not what we're looking for. I think you should do it this way. So since I was like kid, I can remember I was like 6, 7 years old. They make me also make my own decision. So like if I wake up, I would say, hey, I want to go to school early so I can go clean up all the classroom before everybody gets there. And then they'll ask me why I want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, because I feel like that's what I want to do. Plus like every year I get to like move to another level of classes. So I always go to classes with people that are older than I.
Right.
and I was the youngest there. So that's why I want to do it. So they kind of teach me how to make my own decision and not be afraid of making decisions.
Right.
And the other thing is with my dad is he's a fisherman, so he will always like wake me at 5 in the morning and like send me to do like give me some task. So basically that's a way for him to say, hey, you go into that place, you don't know where you're going, but it's okay if you're scared, but also like there's nothing gonna happen to you.
Right.
You're gonna right there. So that's where I get my strength from my parents, letting me make my own decision and not regret it.
Go ahead, huh?
I'm so curious, Jonathan, about so much, but you know, hopefully this will be one of many conversations we can have. But you find yourself being helped, finding out that you are a refugee, which you weren't even clear about. And then how did you decide to start a business once you got to Boise? How did you decide to do a healthcare business? And also, Jonathan, was Boise like being on Mars for you? Was it the strangest, most foreign place, or was it kind of familiar? Because Boise would be like Mars to me. I'm from New York.
That's a really good question. How did I start a business here, and why did I start in healthcare? Since I was a kid, there's two things I want to do. I want to become a doctor. Like that's things that I really want to do, is because I care. My mom cared about people. She was a nurse back home when I was a kid. So I like to do that because that's the only way you get, even though you're getting paid for what you're doing, it's like you're making like a positive impact in people's lives every day. And you have to make tough decisions on how to treat people and not, so that those kind of things help me a little bit. The business side of how did I start business in Boise is because I have a little bit business like background, like into the business. It's not like here, but you might hear like I did a clothing business. So basically, we buy used clothes and then we reduce them based on somebody's style, the way they want it. We make it look nice and stuff like that. So I kind of have that basic business, and I have like little bit of skills that I have. Like I can talk to people and I can talk freely. Like I let them know, hey, here's what I have. If you're interested, I'm happy to arrange something with you. And that's how I started. And when I moved here in Boise, I wasn't thinking to start a business in healthcare. I was thinking starting a business more into like daycare. That was my first project that I started. I like kids, so I like to like be with kids. So I'm like, I'll start a daycare.
Our older son loved that too, and he did it when he was how old?
Well, all through high school, he worked in a daycare center.
Yeah.
I think, Jonathan, and I think it's fabulous to encourage more men to take care of children and experience those aspects of themselves, because it's not just females that need to take care of children, it's men too, right?
Yeah.
Jonathan,
So then,
go ahead.
Yeah,
so
and then after I became an EMT, and then I work into this industry a little bit, I start discovering, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of things I can do with my EMT skills. So I start writing things down. I start talking to people. It wasn't easy though. It was not easy at all. But again, I think about the moment that I left my grandparents' house, what gave me a courage to leave them and walk in the middle of nowhere. So I just applied that. I'm like, okay, this business is a journey that I'm starting. I don't know where I'm going, but I know eventually I will get there. So
how did IRC help you? How did the International Rescue Committee help you get from Chad to Boise, Idaho? How did that happen?
Yes, so that question, exactly. So I did not know that IRC was the one that sponsored me to come here, but I didn't know I was coming to Boise, Idaho. All I know is I was gonna go to Washington, D.C. So then, and then when I get in New York, that's where my destination get changed. They're like, you're going to Boise, Idaho. And I'm like, wait, where's Boise, Idaho? And then I remember I back then I didn't speak English well. So like I didn't even speak English at all, no well.
You're kidding.
So yeah, they're like, you're going to Boise, Idaho. And I'm like, my face kind of just like dropped. I'm like,
And this is
and then
what
I
you
remember,
landed in New York. You landed in New York.
yes, I landed in New York.
Yeah.
And I went to the immigration system. They did all the paperwork, and then they say you go into Boise, Idaho. But first, you're gonna land in Chicago, and then Chicago, and you're gonna go to Boise, Idaho. And then the guy is like, "There's a lot of potatoes in Idaho." I'm like, "Wait, are you sending me to Idaho because of potatoes?" Like,
You must be a potato expert if you're going to Boise, Idaho.
and then a gentleman who speaks French, work for the immigration, come to me, and we start speaking French. And he told me, it's like, hey, don't worry, IRC is gonna welcome you over there. And so yeah, I get here, they pick me up at the airport. I stay at a hotel for like 3 weeks. I think that was the longest time I ever stayed at a hotel in my life.
That's in New York?
No, that's an Idaho.
No, that's
in
in
Idaho.
Boise. Yeah, that's in Idaho.
And how old
Yeah.
are you? How old are you at that time?
Right now I'm 26.
No, but when you landed and you went to Boise that first time?
18.
18.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's IRC kind of like get me hotel. I stay there. They get all my paperwork, and then they find me in an apartment. They put me into classes, and then they like help me with my first 3 months rent. They get me roommate, and then something happened. It was like that when I was at the hotel every morning, I like to run. So I would get out and like run around the hotel, and then go to the high school and then run around the track. And then that's where I met a gentleman. He is a high school track coach, and I ran track in Cameroon. So he'd been following me around until I went to the track, and then he came back and he tried to talk to me, but I couldn't speak English. So he had a hard time talking to me. But then I handed him my my social worker card, and that's how they start conversation. And they work. I don't know how they did with IRC, but it was kind of like a miracle that happened. That I end up going back to high school. I end up graduating from high school. I went to college, and IRC from that. Then IRC like was my number one support. Like if I needed anything, I reach out to them. It doesn't have to be financially. It could be just an advice, guidance, and resources, and they're always there to push me all the way through.
What were the kids like? What were the kids like in high school? Did they welcome you? Did they ask you where you were from? Were they curious? Were they friendly? Were they creepy? What were they like, Jonathan? What did you feel like in a high school? I'm just trying to picture you. And were you the only refugee kid in the high school, or did you find some fellow refugees there?
So my first week, I try to picture back my first week in high school. Because that track coach get me into cross country team. So, and sport, like how sport is. People don't see your color. People don't see where you come from. People just like, we're a team. We're working together. Now we're a family. And that's how they welcome me when I went there. My teammates are so great. They kind of welcome me, but it feels weird. I don't know about hugging. I don't know about running and high-fiving each other. So like, I was kind of like pretty much pulled back, which I kind of regretted later because they just want to be friends. They just want to be like, hey, we're one team. But when I find out later, I was very welcome in my high school. I was not the only refugee kid in there. They have a program called Bridge Program. So basically for English learners, so they put you in that class for a while until they figure out that you're good to go. I remember I did that program about 3 months, and then they moved me. They're like, "You're not gonna stay with the bridge program. You have to start with regular classes." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's no fair." But yeah, and then I started regular class with most American kids, and then we went from there. So that was wonderful.
Jonathan, my son Gideon is off camera. He has a question for you.
I would love to hear a bit about Jonathan's business that he started.
He wants to hear some about your business that you started.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Well,
No, he wants you to tell all of us about the business that you started in Boise.
Oh,
and then
how
how was it going? And then with COVID-19, how did that affect things in your business? How are things today? And what do you see for the future?
So right now, as we started our business in January 15, and I brought a special guest here, and I will introduce her later. We started in January 15, and I think a couple months later, about March, like mid-March, that's why we start like hearing about COVID. Like we're getting news like dropping a little bit, like, hey, there's a virus that's going on. And again, like I wasn't sure what was going on, so I was looking around what I can do, and then I went on Google, I started typing it, and I pretty much pulled a lot of articles from China, like what was going on in China, and then what people are doing.
Excuse me for interrupting. What is the business that you started on January 15th? How did you define the business? What was it supposed to be?
So our business is pretty much non-emergency medical transport. So what we do is we transport people with medical condition to the doctor or from the doctor appointments. Or sometimes we take them from hospitals to their family's house. It depends on what kind of medical issue they're having. We provide wheelchair transport. We provide stretchers transport. Also, we provide ambulatory patients. So ambulatory would be maybe people that just want to go to the rehab for their well-being, like counseling and stuff like that. We do that as well. So I think that's pretty much. So yeah, we do non-emergency medical transport, and yeah.
I'm thinking of moving to Boise because I'm getting older and I may need you later on.
Oh, I'll put one van like in your position just for you. And you. But hopefully we don't have to get there. Like hopefully we still.
I like to be prepared. So go ahead. So you started this business, and then COVID. You started to hear about COVID, and then what happened?
And then I start thinking about what we can do to protect the employees. It was something that I was thinking about just internally, and I was struggling with it. So I start looking at things I start looking at gowns. I start looking to buy masks. I will start looking to buy more gloves, pretty much like all kind of PPE that we would need to make sure nobody get this thing and nobody have to go through that. And I placed all my order, and they were all accepted. The transaction went through, and early April, around like April 15, I get an email saying that all my orders get canceled.
Oh my God.
And Jonathan, were you also taking a lot of people from retirement homes or to retirement homes? Because initially, the nursing homes, those communities were struck very hard by COVID. And so were you dealing with that as well?
Yeah, we were dealing with it, then as well.
So
yes.
You were right on the front line in danger.
Yes.
And
we go inside the hospital, we go to the retirement homes, we go to the nursing skills home, like we go to any medical facility in the valley, and we were right there. And the other thing that pretty much kind of make me feel little bit weird is that you go to the places and you see the ambulance people like the Ada County or the like pretty much the city employees that working like firefighters. They pretty much have all the equipment they needed, and here I am. I ordered all the equipment I needed, and I couldn't get any. At the same time, like corporation that I'm competing against, also because they're big business, they get all the protection they needed, and I couldn't get any. So that kind of like put us in like a weird situation where like people might see like, oh, these people don't even have any PPEs, so we might not want to go with them. So that's when I'm start like, okay, I have to do something. When I heard,
what did you do? And what did you do?
that's when I start making masks.
Started making masks.
Yes, I came home and I was sitting and I look around and I asked my friend, I'm like, where is the sewing machine that we have here? And she told me it's right there, and she wasn't sure what I was gonna do. I did not share it with her at that time, and I just start cutting some material. We went to the store, we bought a couple materials, and I look at the CDC staff. Back then, they didn't put a lot of information out. So I'm like, okay, how can I make this thing the best way that can help? So I make like 4 masks for the first day. And it wasn't easy because I can't remember like how to like work on the machine because I haven't been working on the machine for a while. So the first 4 that I make, it doesn't look good, but like, hey, it's gonna protect us. Yeah. So I started making masks, and then the next day I did like 15, and then the next day like 20, and then like I would go to work while I'm working like in my office. Like I would still make masks and answer phones and dispatching and whatnot.
Were you also making face shields as well?
Yeah, I was making those barriers, the plastic barriers that I was making, because we couldn't get a face shield, and like there's no materials out there that would allow me to make my own face shields. So instead, we make barriers, those plastic barriers that what's that? In the vehicles. So it kind of blocked between the passenger and the driver.
Right.
And yeah, so that's where we started. And
did it keep all of your employees safe, or did any of your employees get sick?
Thankfully, none of our employees get sick. And I have a little quick story. We transport a member that was tested positive, but then they call us like a week later saying, hey, we just want to let you know that you transport a member that just test positive. You would need to like figure out who transported that person and go get it tested. Right. So then I retrieve all my drivers, and I'm like, hey, we all gonna go to the hospital and we all gonna get it tested and make sure nobody gets it. So then we closed down our business for like 4 days to get the test result back. So we weren't running any calls and nothing, but then thankfully our result come back all negative.
Right.
Wow.
And I think the main reason is us wearing like masks and us protecting ourselves with gloves and those gowns that we make. Those are, I think that's one of the key that help us stay safe. And by the way, I want to introduce my dispatcher. She's awesome. We started from day one, and she's the reason Skyroad also survived. So this is Chloe.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Chloe.
Chloe, hi. Now, Chloe, this is so interesting. How did you guys find each other and decide to work together?
I've known Jonathan for the last 3 years. When I moved to Boise myself, I started working for the YMCA, and that's where I met Jonathan.
Wow.
And then we continued to be friends after we both left the Y, and we play indoor soccer together. And then he told me that he was starting this business and asked me if I would come help him get the business going, and started up with him.
Wow.
And is Jonathan your first connection to someone in the refugee community?
Yes.
Right. And do you find Jonathan and Chloe, Chloe, are you from Boise?
I'm not. I'm from California.
Oh, yeah, me too. Sure enough.
Where am I from?
Oh, yeah.
San Jose.
Huh? Pardon me?
San Jose?
Oh, San Jose, sure. Yeah.
You didn't know my cousin Martin, did you?
Probably.
Do you find Boise is a welcoming community for refugees or for people from California? Because I really don't know anything about Boise except it has a beautiful river called the Salmon, which we traveled on once, and potatoes. That's all I know. So the fact that Jonathan has found a home there and that you found each other there, I mean, it sounds like a very good place to be a refugee.
It's probably one of the best places as far as I understand. One of my first days here, I went to go get my new driver's license, and at the time, that was when there was a lot of conflict in Syria, and the DMV worker told me that we get like one of the largest amount of refugees in the country, and that a large amount of those refugees from Syria would be ending up here probably at some point. And that was my first kind of initial step in the door with the refugee community here. We have a little joke though that you don't ever tell anybody in Idaho that you're from California. That's a big one. So when they ask where you're from, make up where you're from.
Yeah, I know. That's sort of like it is with New York sometimes. You don't know if it's a secret or a good thing. Something you should keep to yourself or something you should boast about. You know? What Jonathan, what in your travels for the IRC what in your work and your experience with the IRC would you say is the most important lesson you've learned, and what will you carry on in your life in terms of working with international refugee crisis and other people? Will you continue to work to help other refugees with that organization? I mean, it sounds like we've answered that. They were incredibly supportive, right? But what would you say is your most inspirational thing from this journey about people?
So that regarding IRC, is that correct? If I get it right?
You what? Say that again.
Is that the question is about IRC, right? Like how
travel with them. You're an ambassador for them, right? For the IRC.
Pretty much. I'm not there, but what I want to be, but eventually I'll get there. For me, IRC is a big organization, an organization that cared deeply first about people. They believe in second chance, that they believe people should get a second chance. They believe people should be relocated and have the best life as anybody wishes. And IRC been my primary boost here in Boise. They provide me with everything that I think I needed. Sometimes I feel like they provided more than what I need. And for me, eventually, I think speaking of IRC is a worth organization that need our support. If anybody out there hesitating is like, hey, I don't know what this organization is about. This organization is about bringing somebody like me in Boise, helping them go to school, helping them pay for EMT school, guiding them to become part of the community and start a business and have the dream that they dream of. So this is what
helping to save people's lives, no matter where they're from in the world, or no matter what their religion is or the color of their skin, to take care of human beings' lives. And this is what people who are coming to our country, who are refugees, are contributing to our country. They are not people to be afraid of. They are people to be welcomed and thank the Lord that they've come to be with us.
You know, Jonathan, we got involved with the IRC and Chloe because both of our sets of grandparents, my grandmother and grandfather came from Russia. His came from Poland and Lithuania. So we very much identified with this journey, because if it hadn't been for them being welcome, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Go on,
and we've been talking so much and grilling you so much. And part of this conversation is, please feel free to grill us and ask us anything if you're curious about us in any way.
You can ask us anything in the world.
Well, my first question is, like, I know you guys like actor. I read a lot about Mandy before. That's 2 years ago. That's why I started becoming a fan. right? I was doing research on little things, and then he popped up in an interview about him going to Rwanda.
Uganda, yeah.
Uganda. I saw your interview. You went to Australia doing a concert so you can raise money. And that's how I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, this is really interesting. And then I started working on your profile, and I get a couple notes, couple of your interview, things that you talk about, how you care about people, and I kind of apply that to the project that I've been working on, and it was very fascinating. And then I become, that's where I started a little bit to know about you being like a singer too. I'm like, I didn't know you were a singer then. And then I learned about Princess Bride, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is even more interesting. So yeah, you do a lot of cool stuff, and then I learned later that your wife also is a Broadway superstar.
Not quite, Jonathan. We call it
So,
a
like,
working actor.
Yeah, I'm really interested in like how and when do you guys think this is what you want to do and this is what you're good at? Like,
Well,
yeah.
I have two sons, Isaac and Gideon, and they're 20. I forget how old everybody is now.
34.
I thought they were in their 20s.
That's okay.
Older quickly. But anyway, this is the teacher of the three boys in our family. I'm the oldest boy, Isaac's the second oldest boy, and Gideon's the third oldest boy. And she taught us around the dinner table in the house how to be caring and conscious of people in need, people who have a less fortunate journey than others. And she was our teacher. And so without her, we would be nothing. She has given us everything. She is the superstar of the Patinkin family.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call that quite accurate, except
I would.
You want to know how you guys found out?
yeah.
Oh,
how we
you
found
said how we
acting.
found it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You want to go first?
You know what, guys? It's very simple. If you grew up when I did, what could little girls be? They could be mothers, teachers, nurses, or actors. Well, that was a no-brainer. Acting was the most interesting thing. It was kind of a dumb way to make a big decision, but I was always interested in theater. I thought it was a great art form to bring people together about all sorts of ideas, about difficult things, about moving things, about funny things. And so I moved from California to New York, and I was employed in the New York theater, which is on hold now, but that's what I did. And the only thing I knew for sure in my life, I was going to have a life in the theater, I was going to be a mother, and I was never going to go out with an actor. Be careful what you're sure about, right?
And then after Mandy go, and then I'll follow up with that question too.
Okay.
Do you want to follow up with it now? Go ahead, so you don't forget.
No, she was saying that's how you guys that she gonna go out with the actor. So my question is like, where you guys met the first time, and who made the first move to like, hey, okay. I think.
Let me tell you my little actor part, and then we'll give you the how we met. Okay. I was not very good at school. I didn't like school. It bored me because it didn't talk about what I was interested in. And my sister was very good, and so it was always being compared. And I went to an after-school program at a youth center on the south side of Chicago. I'm from Chicago. And was in this program, and we did plays after school. And a man who ran a costume shop in Chicago, he made costumes for plays and people and commercials and movies. He was the director, and he took all of us high school kids from 13, 14 years old to 18 years old, and he directed these plays. And one day we were doing a play called Carousel by Oscar Hammerstein and Richard Rogers. And we were rehearsing in the same room I went to nursery school in, and he put all of us students in a semicircle, and he said to us, "What's this play Carousel about?" And all the kids raised their hand, and they said, "It's about a guy who made a mistake, about a guy who goes to heaven and gets a second chance. It's about a guy. And he said, I think, and like a good teacher, he said, I think it's about all those things. I think you're right. And then he said this, and I was 14 years old. And he said, I also think it's about, my dog is bumping the chair. He also said, I think it's about, if you love someone, tell them. And as a kid, I said to myself right at that moment, wow, I grew up in a good home with a good mom and dad, and I went to synagogue and heard the rabbi give many wonderful sermons, but I never heard anything so simple that I could understand and connect with. And I said to myself at that moment, if that's what if that's what theater is about, then I'm going to hang out and do some of this. I like it. And that's how I did it. And now we'll go to your question on how we met, right?
It's such a cliche, guys. I mean, really, you know, as I said, I professor I was interested in, a teacher I was interested in, political activist, no actors. So a friend of ours has a play, wants me to be in it. I had plans to travel, and I asked him who was in it, and he told me, oh, this Mandy Patinkin. I said, that kid, because he'd been a kind of up-and-coming kid in the theater, and I was sort of established in the off-Broadway theater. I said I wanted to work with him. That's great. So I said I would rearrange my travel plans. I did the play. And I remember this playwright, after the first few days of rehearsal, coming up and saying, well, what do you think of Mandy? I said, oh, he's great. I love working with him. Do you mean for me personally? Oh, forget it. He's an actor. He's a baby. He's a little bit nuts. No, no. Actor's not for me. The person I'm looking for is the father of my kids, and it's not him. So it just goes to show you you're not always right about yourself, because I've now been with him for 42 years.
I got really lucky.
I did too.
I'm very grateful for you guys and your entire family. And I'm grateful for what you guys have done for the community and what you guys have done around the world. And it's just very fascinating. And that kind of takes me to another question of like, when do you decide that IRC is the organization that you want to help? So what was the kicker? Like, what changed that mind that like, hey, there's a lot of organization out there, but IRC is what I want to support, and I want to be an ambassador of IRC and speak up for them and help people like me have to be success in this country.
For me, it was 2015, and I was in Berlin shooting Homeland, one of the years of Homeland. I forget what year it was. And right at the time we were shooting, the very first episode of that season was taking place in a Syrian refugee camp. And I was watching all the news and all the pictures of 125,000 refugees trying to get across the Balkan route to get to Germany for sanctuary and a new beginning and a better life and fleeing the conflict. And it was the first day, the first week of shooting, and I had to be in Berlin for 6 months to film the whole season. And at that first day, I said, I want to be with those people. When I saw those photographs, they were my family. They were the pictures of the refugees that I saw leaving Russia and Poland and fleeing for a new beginning. And they reminded me of my wife and my children. They were no different. I wanted to be with them and give them my hand and give them water and walk with them on their journey, do what I could. So I called a friend and said, how can I go? And they said, go with the IRC. And then I called both my children, because sometimes my children, I'm so crazy about all the celebrity stuff. So I particularly said to them, I want you to come with me if you're free, and it won't be celebrity. We're just going to go walk and be with these people and support them. It's not about, being a celebrity. And they said, Dad. Both my sons said it separately, not in the same phone conversation. They said, Dad, we can't come because we're busy. But if there was ever a moment in your life when you should let people use your celebrity to be able to be a voice for those who have no voice, this is it. Let them use you, let them film you, let them have you talk to people and share their voices, share their stories with people anywhere and everywhere you can. And I took my son's advice and I went on that first trip to Lesbos, Greece, and I met families and I made connections, and it changed my life, because meeting people like yourself and the refugees we've met all over the world, in Uganda and Serbia and everywhere, in Jordan, the resilience that all of you have had facing some of the most challenging things that life can offer anyone, has been so inspirational to me personally. I've shared it with my family, and it teaches me. You all teach me how to live. And no matter how difficult things are, whether it's COVID-19 or I'm just having a bad day before COVID-19, it can't compare to what some people have been through. And it puts my life into perspective. And so refugees teach me how to live and be grateful, and has changed my life.
And you know, Jonathan, I grew up, you know, both my parents were first generation, and the whole thing was about giving back. There is something called Tikkun Olam in the Jewish religion, which is to repair the world any way you can, not just for Jews, for all humanity, you know.
It's actually Tikkun Olam.
Yeah,
I have to correct our Hebrew.
I'm a Californian Jew, we don't pronounce this right.
For those who speak Hebrew, I had to help.
Yeah. But so for us, it was, this is what America is. America, the idea, which as we all know has been aspirational and not actual, but maybe we're helping to correct that now. We're making it what it is supposed to be, which is a land for everybody, you know. So, and also, Jonathan, let me tell you something that blows my mind. So you now speak English and you speak French? Did you say you spoke? And do you speak a native language also?
Yeah, I speak 7 different languages total.
7 different languages. You know what always cracks me up? I have very good friends who are Xhosa people in South Africa. And when I first met them, they go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive my poor English." I said, "Forgive your poor English, which one is excellent. What about me? What do Americans speak? Uno, one language. It's pathetic." And you have all these people that use 7 languages. It's unbelievable to me. That's a gift in itself to inspire people to be able to do that.
You know, we're now at the time they said to, you know, about 45 minutes or so. We don't want to overuse our welcome to all the wonderful people who have tuned in to share this conversation with us. Before we say we'll see you later, because I'm not going to say goodbye, because after COVID-19 is over, I'm going to get myself to Boise, Idaho, and I'm going to see you, and I can't wait. And but is there anything else you would like to ask us, either of you, before we say thank you to everyone for joining us?
No, you know, I just want to know, you know, COVID is an interesting time right now with the COVID-19. How are you guys doing? How are your families doing? How that changed you guys, like, life, the way you guys used to live? Is there anything that you guys want to share with us? What keep you guys going every day when you wake up because of this COVID thing?
Well,
Be honest.
I'm a people person. I need people, and I love New York City. And all the things I love about New York City, which is the density of every kind of person in the world, the theater, the art, the museums, the street corners, the public transportation, all of that is not available right now. So I am a very privileged person. I have access to food and shelter. So I don't feel I have a right, Jonathan, to really be sad, but I'm very sad for the world. What I feel is it's an interesting time because it's the first time, to our knowledge, that every human being is going through the same struggle. How to keep safe, how to keep healthy, how to make their communities better than they were before this disease. Do you know? So we took a van across the country from New York to Colorado, where our older son is living, and he works in the public health department, where he's dealing with a lot of people who don't believe this is real. And he's trying to get them to understand science is real things, to wear their masks, to wash their hands, to not be in crowds, to be outside if you need to see somebody. And so on my bad days, I'm very sad and frightened. On my better days, I'm really believing that this sort of catastrophe is going to change the world for the better. We're going to clean our air. We're going to be less greedy and materially oriented. We are going to create better health care and better political structures for everybody. And dismantle white supremacy, my son says that. While we're at it, we'll just toss that in.
We'll take care of that too.
And, you know, having conversations like this, Jonathan, And there's so much good work being done in so many organizations with indigenous people, with Native people, with Black people, all over. And it's not in the headlines. It's buried under this loud, mad moment. But I think what's being planted is tremendously good relationships to make the world a better place. And that's what keeps me going.
Yes, good.
I'd love to end on what gives Jonathan hope.
What gives Jonathan hope and Chloe hope? What gives you hope in this time, Jonathan?
I'll have Chloe go first.
I'd like to tell you that Jonathan here gives me hope. Jonathan's very humble, and he's a very selfless man. Some stuff he didn't touch upon, of course, in your conversation. I'll make it brief. You asked his involvement with IRC currently. Not only did he just make masks, he made up to like 80 masks a day and then would put them outside his apartment for free for people to come and take and post them online. He would make masks for refugees who were working in the public community and didn't have access to that kind of stuff. He would also, we just started to transport refugees, and he's doing everything he can to give them all the access that he had and the availability that he had. So people like Jonathan, they give me hope.
Right on, Chloe. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to thank you guys so much for everything you've been doing. Especially this is the hardest moment. We got hit with COVID, and now we're dealing with all this thing with Black Lives Matter. And I know you guys like #1 voice out there right now, supporting all organizations that's fighting white supremacists and people who think people like me doesn't belong in this country, and people who think I'm here to steal something from somebody, even though like I'm just trying to survive. And you guys doing a great job. And what gives me hope every day is people like you guys, your family, and watching you using what you work hard for to help other people out there and hold their hands and say, hey, I'm here, it's gonna be okay. Those things, every time I wake up in the morning and I think about hearing voices or reading things that you guys write on the post, is very, very motivating and hopeful, and keep me going every day. Again, I'm very fortunate to also have a Chloe in my side as somebody that I don't know, I can't remember why I started conversations like, hey, come work with me, but I would never forget that moment when she said, whatever you need, I'm here for. And that's why we're here. So I'm very grateful for you.
I want you both to know when we get past this and solve this problem, if you ever want to take in New York City when it heals and gets back, our door is open.
Our door is open, and we'll be your guide.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate that.
And I want to come visit Boise and want you to be my guy. And if you find somebody named Jeffrey Hennessy, say hello from us, because he took us on that Salmon River, which was terrifying and gorgeous.
And he lives in Boise.
And thank you guys so much for the work that you're doing.
Thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
It is extraordinary work, and that's what America is about, is bringing people like you and what you add and find each other and what you do to help that town and all of us. So
you are the definition of the gift of what this country is. You make this country great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not going to let you go without telling you about your quote. My name is Igor Montana. You killed my father. I'm here. Prepared to die. I used that in college. We kind of like still you style a little bit, and then we try to be creative. So every single time we try to race in the track, we kind of like come up with like, oh, my name is Jonathan, and I'm from TVCC. You're in my line right now. Prepare to race. I'm prepared to. It became like something pretty cool. Like now it's like every time we meet our old friends, it's like, okay, my name is. You're in my city, prepare to race.
I love that it's been used that way.
Oh my goodness, I love it so much. Like I have to watch it every single time. And I'm like, oh my God, this is one of the best movie I ever watched in my entire life. Oh my gosh.
You know, I'll tell you my favorite thing that happened once. It was many years after I made the movie, because I was how old when I made the movie?
36.
I was like 36 years old when I made the movie. I was about 55 years old, and I was in a gym in Philadelphia getting ready to go do a concert. And I was on an elliptical machine exercising, going over the words for the music, you know, in the concert. And all of a sudden on the TV of the machine was the movie The Princess Bride. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but there was no sound. So I finished working out. I went up to the hotel room. Catherine was in the hotel room with me, and the movie was on. She was watching the movie on TV. And I sat down, and I heard a scene in the movie that no one ever quotes, that I was in with Carrie and the Man in Black. And it's right after Robin jumped out the window and fell into Andre the Giant's arms. And he asked me if I wanted to be the next Dread Pirate Roberts or something. And I can't remember exactly what was happening. But my character, as a young man of 35, said these words, and I didn't even know what I was saying. And when I was 55, I thought, wow, William Goldman really wrote a great, great line. And the line that he wrote was, you know, I have been in the revenge business so long. Now that it's over, I do not know what to do with the rest of my life. And I love what this man wrote. And if everyone who has been in a revengeful place could let go of it and be in a loving place, the world would be everything we wish for.
Oh my gosh, that's good ending right there. Like you nailed it.
Well, we
so
send you our
talking to
love.
both of you.
Thank you for spending this time with us, and thank everyone who's joined us on this conversation, for joining us. What a gift you are to all of us, and keep going. Onward, onward, onward.
Yeah. Keep in touch. Let us know if we can do anything to support you.
Yes, please.
Right.
Thank you very much.
I
We
can't wait to
appreciate
have
it.
our exchange. Boys, you need to
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Becky. Becky's hungry. We
Becky,
gotta feed her.
she knows when to say goodbye. She knows her cue. She knows it's dinner time.
Take very good care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great meeting you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye. You know what to do now, Git?
Well, you can say bye to everyone else.
Bye
Now
to
you're just with the
everybody.
people.
Bye to everybody
I
else.
mean,
Hey,
thank you for staying with this
If
conversation.
if anybody gives $1,000, they'll do a burlesque dance.
Oh yeah, well maybe not. But thank
Becky,
you
calm
guys.
down.
I
Becky's
love
saying goodbye.
Becky's saying goodbye.
Becky's
and
saying
she's
goodbye.
hungry.
Okay,
Yeah,
how do we
okay.
end this?
Bye-bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
All right.
That
It's
is
dinner
what,
time.
that's what IRC is all about.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
I'm going to feed you right now.
Okay.
Come
I
on,
don't
come
know
on.
how to end it.
You have to save it, remember? What
I know,
you
but I think you end first.
Okay, you know what to do. Here we go. You were so good, Becky. You
What
were
a
so
beautiful
good.
guy.
What a beautiful guy.
Wait, we're still live.
We're still
Oh, we're
alive.
still live. Okay.
And
Lucky we
I'm
didn't
gonna
say
hit end. All right. I just want to make sure I'm doing this. Oh, look.
what.
One
Why?
1 minute 40
2
seconds remaining.
remaining. Okay.
Do we
Well,
end
do
it?
we do it? What do we do? Do we say
Do
something
I
to
end
people?
You can say things to people.
Hey guys, whoever stayed on for this conversation, I love that freaking conversation.
Look, it's still.
I mean,
the
I
hearts are
think
still
I
smoking.
think that's what I would love to do. I'd love to meet every friggin' refugee like Jonathan in every one of the cities in this country to hear their story and see what they're doing. I mean, he's really helping that community. What could be better than that?
Okay, I'm gonna end now. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, are you sure you want to end your live feed? Yes, and